Now, who protects those people? Then what do? Is they just finance their police forces. So you have, these heavy-duty police who are protecting those leaders from their own people. Otherwise, how the people just don't, like in Sri Lanka, right? They just stormed the capital and just took over the guy's house, right? So that's what they're doing, is they're just weakening the people, take away their guns, take away their manufacturing, take away their jobs, create an artificial food shortage. Now they can't afford to feed themselves, destroy the connection to energy. Now they can't heat themselves. Now they're in a weakened position with no weapons. Then that's the only way the government can deal with their people. And that everyone is offered up as like a slaughter. They don't care about the people. Anyway, I think maybe I went too far.
Thank you very much that you spoke for that, because most of the time I have experienced then devotees, they thinking to see the situation as it is Maya, so devotees are only for reading the books and chanting, but not to see reality as it is, and not, in any case, not to speak it out. So thank you very much that you're like that, because we are not imitating, we are true for that what is as it is, and for that I'm thanking.
Hari-Krishna.
Hari-Krishna.
I also would like to add something, Maharaj. I'm very, very happy to hear this from such a nice spiritual person, because I was very disappointed about so many spiritual leaders, also devotees in high positions even, giving very wrong advice on these things with very detrimental effects, like that so many thousands of devotees got the vaccine, like my beloved Pankajangri Prabhu, they convinced him to take the vaccine and he died of it, and they sent him to hospital.
Which devotee?
Pankajangri.
Oh yes,
yes. So
yeah, they forced to take the shot.
Yes. And his brother didn't take it because he didn't want to travel. So, and I don't want to go into the details.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that someone who is enlightened with this knowledge that Krishna is giving, he understands everything, just like the sun in the daytime, it enlightens everything.
Yes.
So you, for me, are one example of someone who is enlightened by this knowledge from Krishna, and by this knowledge from inside, like you understand, even though the majority is against it and there is so much propaganda against it, you pointed down, you nailed the truth to the point, and it's very rare to find it. We're all very fortunate to hear this in such a nutshell and so precise and to the point. And I'm very happy to hear from you that actually it's turning now to the better part. I didn't know that. This part I didn't know, so I'm very happy to hear that and feel very encouraged, and I'm very happy that I came here and got these to see you and hear you speak the spiritual truth and also understanding the material truth, and giving us this hope. And it's sure it's very based. I'm sure someone who's like you will not say this just to give some positive feeling, but you have some good reasons that they're actually coming down, and some much better time is now ahead of us, and we will. And Krishna consciousness has much better chance to flourish in such a different environment, not against all these odds, all these demons controlling the media and everything else.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you very much,
Krishna.
Maharaj.
Haribol. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Prabhu.
Хари Кришна, спасибо за лекцию, спасибо за объяснение, Махарадж. Очень все четко и все понятно. И какое-то открылось дыхание, ты начал просто дышать по-другому. Скажите, пожалуйста, вот в Украине многие считают, украинские преданные, что это защита Украины от агрессии, это является дхармой. Но является ли это дхармой Украины, когда она защищает там своих украинцев от агрессии российской? Является ли это дхармой настоящей?
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for this class. It's like now much more clear everything. And one question I have in Ukraine.
Now she has spiritual body.
Сейчас у вас духовное тело. One question I have in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Devotees are saying that to protect themselves from Russian aggression, this is their dharma. So is it really dharma to protect themselves from Russian aggression?
No, it's human nature. Because they're getting they're getting demolished. They're just trying to stay alive. See, the problem is that unfortunately Ukrainian people, they don't care about those people. They're just like insignificant. They even say that we'll keep fighting till the very last Ukrainian. So they are ready to literally destroy every Ukrainian person in order to meet their demoniac goals. And in Ukraine, they have basically the demons, they've taken over the Ukraine. And all of the illegal activities that they're doing around the world is being funneled through the Ukraine. So all of the, the proof and the evidence of all the criminal activity and how they're basing themselves in the Ukraine, all of that information is there in the Ukraine. Why the United States, they took over Ukraine was because the leadership was favorable to Russia. So the United States and NATO, they literally, had a revolution and took over the Ukraine illegally in 2014. So this is not really the Ukrainian leadership. It's really, US, UK, globalistic, banksters cabal. They're just manipulating, using that place to do all of their demoniac criminal activity. And they're understanding to take over the world, just like the Nazis, right? They wanted to take over the world. Therefore, they know they have to go against Russia. And Russia defeated them. Of course, Russia also sacrificed 20, 30 million lives doing it. And that's why, especially they want to try to fight the Russians in the winter time. Everyone has tried to do that. Napoleon, all of the different wars, every one of them admitted you cannot fight them even on a good day, what to speak of in the dead of the winter. So they made a plan since 2014 how to dig in Donbass and eastern Ukraine and they train 200,000-300,000 man army how to invade Russia. So they had, since 2014, preparing themselves, training, building all of the defensive networking in the eastern Ukraine, and training all of the troops in Poland and Romania and Germany, and because they know the only way they can get a global domination is if they can destroy Russia. And ultimately their threat is China. So they can't take on China until they deal with Russia. So they thought if they just drag Russia into this war, they'll just drain all of the manpower, money, missiles, equipment, whatever, and try to put sanctions on them and create a hellish situation in Russia that the people will go against the leadership in Russia. And it backfired on them. Because they understood what are these rascals doing, and they prepared themselves for it. It's not really about Ukraine. Everyone, you know, when Hitler started his movement in Nazi, right, the first place they wanted was the Ukraine. Because of all of the, it's a food basket, right, the bread basket, and has so much natural resources are there that you don't get in these other countries. And that's on the border of, you know, Russia, directly. So then when this whole thing backfired on them, then Russia got together with China, and now India is also there with Russia. They try everything to break India from Russia. But Russia helped India when they broke away from the English, from the British. So, you know, Indian history shows that if it wasn't for the Russians, they couldn't have got rid of the British Empire out of India. And then 70% of the military and equipment and all the weapons are coming from Russia in India. So how are you going to separate India from Russia? It's impossible. And then India can't deal with China unless Russia's with India. So they all need each other. Right? Right? If Russia doesn't control China, China's a threat on the Indian border. Or Pakistan. Right? Is a threat on the Indian border.
Even like America came to attack India and Russia saved India.
What?
Like America came to attack India and
America came to attack India?
yeah, like in 1974 or something like and then the Russians said
No way. You really believe America tried to attack India? Oh, you're saying through Pakistan? Oh, okay. That makes sense. Not directly. They use a proxy wars, right? Nice. But anyway, the idea was, let's just get rid of the Russians, then we can fight with the Chinese. But now Russia, China, India, and all these countries working together, now they have a problem. They have a serious problem for themselves. And then you destroy the whole economic system by having a completely independent economic system. You destroy the dollar. You destroy all the industries in the European countries. You have all the populations going against their own governments. Now they're fighting with each other. because they know they're defeated. It's like, the example is like a chess game. You're like in chess, right? You could be like 6 moves away from checkmate. But everybody knows, the expert player, they know, okay, I'm checkmated. It's just going to take 6 moves. So these guys, they are checkmated now. But now they're very dangerous. Because they're cornered, they're exposed, and they're already checkmated. So that's why they're very dangerous right now, because all they can do is try to create so much chaos and wars, and you see in all these places where everyone's breaking out now. They're trying to just make different agitations and different wars breaking out in practically everywhere right now. That's the reality of the situation. I think, the devotees who just can hear and chant and do their service, who are also responsible for taking care of the other devotees, who may be in different parts of the world, they should be pretty well informed in order to help everybody to navigate through a very complex and difficult situation and period of time. So we should try to understand as much as possible. That way we're not brainwashed or ignorant to the facts of the matter. So this is not Ukraine against Russia. This is NATO. This is the UK. This is NATO. City of London, Washington D.C., Vatican. That's who's fighting. And they're just using the Ukrainian people. They don't care about those people. Just like in the Middle East, they did the same thing. Right? They just bomb everywhere. Just destroy everything. Russia's trying to be careful and not blow everything up and everybody up. Because after this thing hopefully settles, you don't want a country which is completely destroyed, with people who are completely alienated against you. But these people are just asking for big time trouble. So this is the reality of the situation. It's not, I'm not pro-Russian or pro-Ukrainian. It's just a fact of the matter. Anyway, that's an overview of the situation. I always tell the devotees, I don't want you to waste all the time trying to figure this thing out. Krishna let us already figure it out, and we're just giving you the necessary information to balance out the situation for you, so that you're informed, but you're getting the essence of what's important in that scenario, and then how that might be impacting you and the devotees in the different places that you live. But it's very bad because everybody is brainwashed, and it's systematic brainwashing. And the countries which are the biggest threat to NATO, they're the most brainwashed, because they know you have to control those people. And unfortunately, it's going to take some major situation to shake the world and to shake the people, until they get to the point like, everything that we thought was true, it turns out that it wasn't true. And then when all of that reality hits everybody, there has to be some souls there who can reasonably explain it to other souls, to give some shelter, protection, some support, some information, so that, you know, people can be peaceful enough to continue with their life. So I think we talked enough about that topic. Mataji, she's all right now? Devaki, what else was her mother's point?
Basically, point was, is it proper if Ukrainian devotees thinking that this is their dharma to to fight basically against Russian aggression?
It's unfortunate, because they don't even know what they're fighting for. That's why I say, you know, to get people to hate each other and to fight against each other, they have to be brainwashed into thinking the other people are less than human and deserve to die. And it's a very sad, unfortunate situation that the governments are prepared to do this to their people and then just create death and destruction, you know, amongst their families and amongst the society. It just shows you to what depths these people can go to create this type of chaos. So there's no justification for that. Human nature, I mean, if people are bombing you, you're going to try to survive. And then you have different groups that are saying, if you don't fight, we'll just shoot you in your back. So they're not even necessarily interested for fighting. But if you don't fight, then they're going to kill you. Or if you don't fight, they're going to, you know, they know where your family lives. And they're going to go in where you live, and they're going to murder your family. So they're in such a horrible situation. And all the leaders in Ukraine military, they were all part of Soviet Union. They were all brothers. They're all trained together in the same universities and the same colleges. They fought together and trained together. All their families are like intermingled. It's like, brother, you're basically fighting against your own family members. And that's what these people do. They did the same thing in America in the Civil War. They literally have families fighting on the north side and the south side against each other. Same in Yugoslavia. Right? You have different people, different ethnic groups, different types of religions. They all know how to live. They know how to live in their own way. They know how to cooperate with each other. But they just go in and say, no, no. Just like Prabhupada said, you know, with the Hindus and the Muslims, we used to get along fine. We lived in the same neighborhood. There was no problem. There's no animosity. But these people, they make you hate each other. Divide and conquer. So they just go in and create this type of division based on your religion, based on your ethnic background, based on your, you know, all these different apparent differences that we may have. And they just make it that everybody's the enemy. So you have this Yugoslavias, and then they just break the whole thing up. And then everyone takes control of some part of it, and they just make everything political. It's just chaos. I was shocked when I saw this video about Yugoslavia. I was literally shocked. That when I saw this, I felt sick to my stomach. That these people did like this. It's one thing if you have a war with someone and you're sitting there and you're fighting on hand to hand, that's one thing. but to just indiscriminately drop bombs on people for months and months and months, where they can't even defend themselves. This is just unbelievable, criminal, demoniac mentality and behavior. Very disturbing situation. And my whole life, I have been shocked into this reality. So I said, I met my spiritual master, I had a great spiritual awakening. And this situation has made me have a great material awakening. And it's been just as shocking in some ways. But the nature of the world and the reality of the world and the world situation, we should also understand it. It's not Maya. Maya is anything that you see that's separate from Krishna and Krishna's creation. Maya is Krishna's separated external energy, which is being used according to people's desires and according to people's karmic action and reaction. Nothing is material in one sense. It's Krishna's energy, it's just temporarily manifested energy. So everything is related to, nothing is separate from Krishna. Krishna is controlling all of those energies. So to say, oh, that's Maya, that's material, we're not interested for that. No, that's spiritual, temporary spiritual energy which Krishna is allowing to be used for what purpose? And we should understand that. And if we want to understand that, Krishna will explain all of those points. Because nothing's happening by mistake. It says not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So why is Krishna allowing that to happen? These are very important points to properly understand. Otherwise, that's why people become atheists. That's why people lose their faith. Because they don't understand, how is this possible? That God's allowing these type of things. So we need to understand all of those subtleties and all of those tattvas properly, so that we don't misunderstand it, because that can lead to chaos, confusion, especially from spiritual point of view. So anyway, we'll continue our talk as we go. But this is a nice introduction to meet you and to discuss it. I thought it would be nice if devotees could also hear us talking, because they're also very curious and also interested in understanding the same things that we would talk. And we can also talk anytime privately as well, there's no problem. But I thought it was, everyone wants to hear it, everyone needs to hear it. And it's nice to hear, other devotees' perspective, especially older devotees who are also aware, and from your countries especially, it's very enlivening, and it makes what I read and what I watched, you're giving from your heart, your own experience, so it brings it really to life, to light. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Shishi Gornita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gaur Govinda Swami, Srila Gurudev ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gora Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Hare Krishna. You have how many masks do you have on? Just one? Acha.